Hey guys, it's Michelle here, the founder and CEO of ihelpmoms.com. I am bringing on one of my all-time favorite mom experts, another Michelle, coming to us from Canada. And she is an expert on families, on relationship, and really keeping us connected. And her tagline is Mom the Manager. I love it. So thanks for being
Yeah,
on with us today.
yeah, good to be back.
Awesome. Well, you and I have talked about this privately, so I thought we'd bring it to the forefront because we love
Mhm.
to be honest, authentic, and upfront. And
Yes.
I know that I'm not the only mom that's felt like a single mom at times. And, I pay
Mhm.
honor and tribute to those moms that are single moms. So
Yes.
I don't mean any disrespect as we're talking about this, but
No.
this topic in particular, what we're talking about is I'm married. I've been married for 12 years. We have a very busy, crazy life, 5
Mhm.
businesses, 3 kids. We are
Oh.
like 2 ships passing in the night.
Yes.
And I know that that's a familiar landscape for a lot of marriages, but we like to see the pretty Facebook image and pretend that everything's
Mhm.
perfect. And so our topic today is, how do we cope? What are some strategies? What are some tactics if we do often feel like 2 ships passing in the night in our relationships raising kids? It's something super common that happens, but it's very rarely discussed. So I want to kick it off with that question, Michelle. How do we
Mhm.
cope? How do we, is it normal? And maybe more so just talking about that. Is it normal? Do
Mhm.
you see a lot of relationships talking about feeling like a single parent, even if we are in a relationship raising children?
Yes, it comes up a lot, and I think it's a great topic because it does come up a lot. And I think the thing is that dating someone does not prepare you for parenthood because you don't know what kind of children you're going to have. What if you've got a child with a learning disability that they have had to be in the hospital because developmentally maybe there's things going on? Everybody has different thresholds as far as stress. And
Yeah.
then what usually happens is that we don't talk about it. There's no renegotiation of how your relationship works because you're both new at it. And then we have another child, and there's more conflict, and another child. And it can really create a lot of issues in our marriage because we're new at this. We've never been parents before. Or, I mean, some people might be with a partner that's had children with somebody else. I mean, there's a lot of different factors that I have my idea, my partner has my idea, but we just get frustrated
Yeah.
and we don't move forward.
Yeah. So we're going to
Yeah.
talk about some of those things. So I'm going to give 2
Mhm.
examples that have happened in my own life. I believe that
Yes.
vulnerability is what brings us together. So first
Yes.
example, we had my first daughter. We were opening our first office. I was, we were just busy. It was like a crazy
Mhm.
season where we're trying to learn how to be business owners, be new parents. And I remember I would wait for my husband to get home because I was just drowning in postpartum depression. I really was done, with
Hard.
being mommy all day and being
Yeah. Yeah.
isolated. So I remember like waiting for him to get home and just wanting to shove, the baby off on him, right? And then,
Mhm. Mhm.
just get a little bit of me time in. Fast forward 3 kids later, now we're in a different season of life, right? We've got more
Yes.
businesses, we've got more kids. And now what I find is, he's not getting home till 8:30 at night after he's
Mhm.
multiple businesses that day.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
doing, golf and tennis and gymnastics and cheer and doing all of that side of it in school
Mhm.
and working.
Mhm.
And so guess what happens, right? Now it's, I would rather just single parent and do the bedtime, do the
Mhm.
bath time, be there and get it all done instead of him
Mhm.
walking in at 7:30 and waking everyone up and like the whole
Yes.
stressful situation of they get excited to see daddy. Shouldn't be
Right.
stressful, but at times I just want to kind of get through the nighttime routine without that disruption. So, 2
Mhm.
totally different real situations in my life. And what I've
Yes.
seen is that it's cyclical. And so we
Mhm.
worked with great therapists, we worked with great life coaches, and luckily we go to an
Mhm.
amazing church. And this Sunday, our pastor actually talked about the reality of relationship and raising kids. And one of
Mhm.
the things that really struck me is he
Mhm.
said, you cannot depend on someone else for your happiness. And
Right.
that like hit me so hard because I think we always
Mhm.
say, I'll be happy when my husband comes home at 5. I'll be happy when he puts his dishes away, right?
Right.
So, what if that day just doesn't come, or it does come and it doesn't bring the fulfillment that we had hoped in our relationship. So I want to talk to you about the
Mhm.
reality of us not depending on someone else to make us happy, but really talking
Mhm.
about skills, strategies, tactics of
Mhm.
really getting on the same page and making sure we are communicating, not in a nagging way, but in a really positive way about the changing cycles of parenthood, right?
Yeah, well, and I think that really, I mean, self-compassion is important for all of us. We tend to be very hard on ourselves. Everything, if this and this and this happened, then I'll be happy. But like you said, it's really not about external things, it's internal things. But when you are drowning in stress, you have three children, one child, it doesn't matter. But if you're feeling like the world is kind of closing in. Some people are very isolated as well. They don't go to work, or if they are going to work, it's more stressful and more work and picking up. And it does seem silly to say self compassion is going to help you. It doesn't give you an extra $500 a month. It doesn't make your partner jump in and help more. But what it does is it helps you calm down.
Yeah.
It helps you kind of come back to those things that make you feel better. Because when you're barely keeping your head above water and your partner comes home at 8:30 at night and wants to snuggle with the baby, your head pops off, right? But when our stress level is a little bit lower, then we can see that, yeah, you know what? Let's look at this from a different angle. And my partner might wake the baby up, but will cradle the baby and help the baby fall asleep. And if this is an ongoing issue, I can't deal with this in the moment. And that's what we tend to do. We
Mm,
are like, fine, come in and wake the baby. Fine, come in and wake the baby. They've been away from the baby. And then one day you've had 10 things happen. The whole month or the whole week or the like last few days have been stressful. And then we freak out in the moment. And it's like, this is stopping. No more of this. And when we are calmer, we are nicer to ourselves. We can turn the volume down. We're better able to deal with our stressors. And we really have to plan ahead. We can't do this in the moment. And when we sit down with our partner, we want to do it, like you said, in a non nagging way. Nagging is usually in the moment, or we do that passive aggressive kind of like those little digs.
yeah.
And depending on your partner, they're going to shut down.
Yeah.
Or they might think, I'm working until 8:30 at
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
and you get to stay home with the kids
Yeah.
and take them to gymnastics. I wish I could do that. And
Yeah.
then our heads pop off
Yeah.
because we're on very, very different wavelengths, right? And we're like, fine, you switch, fine, you take my, right? And then we do a bunch of this, we get angry,
Yeah.
and we don't talk about it again. And that's where sometimes you do need therapy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need those life coaches, or sometimes it's just taking a few deep breaths yourself and saying, how do I approach this
Yes.
where I'm feeling heard and not nitpicking about the person? This is my concern. This is what's going on. If we do that kind of global, you never listen, you never help, you never always, all that kind of stuff, it's it it's really, it doesn't help. It
Yeah.
doesn't. So really
Yeah.
being specific, right? I
Yeah.
love that you want to
Yes.
cuddle with the baby.
Yes.
8:30 doesn't help me out, but this we can work around.
Yeah.
So let's work together on that,
Yeah.
right?
I
Mhm.
love what you're saying. I think first,
Yeah.
zooming out, taking some deep breaths and
Mhm.
figuring out what do I need to make myself
Mhm.
happy is really step
Yes.
number one. Step
Yep.
number two is halt. Do not
Mhm.
communicate when you're hungry, angry,
Yes,
lonely,
that's
or
right.
tired. I know I say
You
this
are
all the
right.
time, but it
Yes,
saved our marriage
it's a good one. Mhm.
time and
Yeah,
time again, is to just
for
halt,
sure.
take a time out, and
Mhm.
figure out a better time to talk about things when things aren't at an all-time high, right? And
Yes.
then come to the table with a solution. And
Yes.
also think about our mindset shift, right? So I talked a little bit
Mhm.
about my husband coming home at 8:30. He's worked two jobs. And
Yeah.
I'm bone dog tired trying to do homework and get three
Mhm.
kids to sleep, but I'm
Mhm.
like done as
Yeah.
well, right?
Right,
But
right.
I shift my mind and I start the good cycle, not the crazy cycle. And
Mhm.
I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
thank you so much for working so hard. I know that you are busting it. I know that you've had a really long day. What's something that we could
Mhm.
do together? I know you want to see the kids. And when you are home and here for the kids. And I appreciate that.
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah.
like totally switching my mindset from, oh, I'm so
Yes.
frustrated,
Yes.
to gratitude. Like, find the spaces of gratitude
Yeah.
and watch the crazy cycle reverse itself. And he'll
Mhm.
start to say, thank you so much for taking the kids to gymnastics. I really appreciate
Mm.
everything